make posts. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to CAF 6.0, the Career Activation Foundry of the Muslim Mentorship Connect. My name is Mutiat Olagoti, and I am honored to have you all with us today. This is the 6th edition of CAF. The first one was held in 2018, and to the glory of God, we've had the program in Ikeja, Unilag, Ibadan. And last year, December, we were in Abuja. So I'm trying to remember the 5th one. Then we had one in Oshogo too. So this is number 6. And I feel really honored to be on the team that's been bringing this to life. And with me today, I believe I have Mr. Aziz Lawal, my Oga Patapata, Mr. Sikiru Salami, and Mr. Lekon Olawoyin. Who else is here? Mr. Kola Umani, Mr. Lekon, Mr. Lanion, and a couple of other people, and definitely a lot of volunteers that have made the Career Activation Foundry of the Muslim Mentorship Connect amazing in the last couple of years. And we hope that regardless of this not being held live, that this one would also be just as amazing as all the other ones. Yes, I remember the last one, the 5th one was in Ilorin. So we had Ikeja, Unilag, Ibadan, Ilorin, Oshogo, Abuja. 5.0 was in Abuja and Oshogo together. So this is 6.0 and we're having it live. And for the very first time ever, we're going to have participants from everywhere in the country. So I would like to know where you are watching from. So basically just tell us everybody has their name written, so you may not introduce yourself. Just tell us where you are watching this from. Where are you watching this from? Set a slim and tell us where you are watching it from. Okay, so, somebody is asking if they can hear me. Can everybody hear me? I just assume that everyone can hear me. So it's more
clearly. You can hear you clearly, Mutiat.
Okay, thank you, Aziz. So wherever you're listening from, tell us where you're listening from. Would like to know. If you can't hear me, it is your network. If you can't hear me, it is your network. So please, you may have to leave the meeting and come back again. So tell us for the introduction. I believe that we all have our names written. Okay, so we have Mr. Sheriffin listening from Abuja, very nice. Aziz Lawa is watching from somewhere in Lagos. It could be Okukumaiko. Please, Lagosians, could you tell us which part of Lagos you're watching from? Mr. Amzad Abo is watching from Ibadan. MashaAllah, very nice. My Oga Potopoda is here. Okay, so somebody is watching from Surulere. We have Ikotun. Someone is not far from me in Fadei, Mr. Agbabiaka. We have Kaduna, nice. Sister Ganiya Turaj is listening from Lekki. Azizat Muhammad is from Yaba. There is Bariga. We have a Butemeta, very, very nice. Kiwi town, nice. Yanokaja is here. This is amazing. And then there is Ahmed Raji from Aja. Thank you all for joining us. Without wasting much of our time, we'll go straight to the outline of today. Somebody is watching from BGC. Thank you. There's all the way from Lokoja, Mr. Ismail. Thank you for joining. Zainab Onitolo from Lagos Highlands. Oh, see, I'm really feeling like an international. This is like a national conference now. Thank you all. Okay, so Sister Jamila just made our national conference an international conference. Thank you for joining us all the way from the UK. There's Suleja Olawoyin from Ikmari. Beautiful, beautiful. Sister Fatima come from Ikoyi. So it's everywhere. Nice to have you. So in a space of 5 seconds, we went from CAF 6.0 being a national conference to international, having somebody from the UK, and I believe there are more people will join. We're expecting about 500 people to join. Hopefully you would. Zainab, thank you for joining us from Ibadan. Aha. Wow. Woo. See, another Zainab is joining us from Play 2. Garo, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Thank you all for joining. It's one thing to have people register. It's another to have them show up. Thank you so much for showing up, Mr. Jamil Alaka from Lagos Island. So today the program is going to be, I believe I've done the welcome message and I'm 4 minutes behind schedule. The keynote address is to go on at 11:10 a.m. to be delivered by Alhaji Ni Yusuf. He's one of our many supporters and we're honored to have him here with us. And when he's done with his speech, we'll take a couple of questions. I believe by 12 p.m. inshallah, we would have Mrs. Khadija Olawani, whom I am honored to call one of my friends and big sister. She will be presenting a speech titled Find That Dream Job with Ease. And then the second presentation to be delivered by Mr. Yinka Yusuf will hold at 12:45, hopefully, and it will be titled How to Keep a Job. So it's one thing to find a dream job, it's another to keep it. And so today is going to be an amazing time learning how to find and keep our jobs. And after Zoo, we're going to break for Zoo, I believe. Okay, we'll break for Zoo after Mrs. Olawani, and then after the second presentation, we'll have the panel session where you get to ask, where Alhaji Ni Yusuf will be on our behalf asking the panel's questions on jobs and employment in the new normal. And finally, we would have our guy at the top, Mr. Sikru Salami. Mr. Sikru Salami giving us the closing remark. And that will be all for CAF 6.0. I pray that Allah in His infinite mercy bless all our speakers and bless the knowledge that will be shared today, and that for this conference be a huge uja for us on the day of Qiyamah and not against us. So, and on that note, we begin. Okay, so Mr. Aziz is the chairman of the event here. Some people are raising their hands. I'm assuming that it's a mistake because I haven't asked any question. So if you're raising your hand and you genuinely have something you'd like to say to me and it's not a mistake, please send me a private chat now. I will respond, inshallah. Okay, the MMC team, do we have any confirmation that the chairman is here with us? Okay, so we have the second speaker around. We have the second speaker around. Mr. Salami, Mr. Sikru Salami, while we wait for Alhaji Yusuf, would you give us a backstory of what CAF is about and why MMC decided to hold the first one? And here we are with the sixth one. For those people who are just hearing about MMC and those who are attending the first Career Activation Foundry by MMC. Is Mr. Salami with me? Okay, Aziz Lawal, as the chairman, vice president.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't see you though.
Can you hear me? I'm here. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Good morning. Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. I can't hear you anymore, though.
Okay, it's a pleasure having you all around today. He has introduced me. My name is Sikir Salami. You can't hear me anymore.
We can hear you.
Hello.
It's cracking a bit, but we can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead. Okay, I can't hear him anymore, and I can't hear him anymore. So we would go ahead. I believe that our chairman of the occasion is around to deliver the keynote address. Please, can we have him made admin? Technical crew, please make him admin so that he can begin a speech. Alhaji Yusuf, sir, are you around? I've been told that he's around. So, okay, yes, he's here. Please give him admin pass so we may begin. So before we start, of course, we're going to read the citation. And I know from experience that Mr. Nee is not much of a citation person, particularly. But then when you see his profile, you know that it's a lot. It's a mouthful. However, I will be reading the short one that we made, that we put in the posters that was shared on all the platform, so that I don't get to lose my. Okay, good. So you are now co-host, sir. So you may unmute yourself. So Alhaji Yusuf is the managing partner of Veraki Partners. He's a skilled transformation change manager with over 20 years of experience leading government and private organizations as they navigate strategic change and new IT initiatives. In his client engagement, Mr. Alhaji has focused on all phases of transformation and system development life circles, and has led teams in planning, implementation, PMO requirement definition, design, conversion, testing, and adoption of IT systems. So please welcome. Of course, there's a lot more. I believe he's the chairman of NASFAT now, etc. So, but to save time, we will cut it and let him have the floor. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Mutiat, and good to see you again. And it's good to see quite a number of my friends in the house, Molara and Yinka and Saeed Bashir. Thank you for the opportunity. I thought I was just a keynote speaker. I didn't know I was the chairperson. I don't know what a chairperson is meant to do or what the chairperson does. But I've
fundraising for us.
Okay.
Give away.
All right. But I've been asked to speak to the how I got in. I've been asked to do that in 40 minutes, but I think we pretty much have 30 minutes left so that we can continue maintain our time limit. So I'll try and speak to it in 30 minutes. And I will do this by sharing telling my own story from what I've experienced and what I've gone through. and hoping that in ensuring that participants can pick one or two things in terms of what they can do to support their advancement. Right. I think the first thing in terms of what one can do, and the foundational thing, it's about having the right character. It's about character building, and your character defines you. Your character defines who you are. And your character also is a function of, speaks to the kind of values that you espouse. So when you look at someone, you say, oh, this person is hardworking. Oh, this person is a thief. Oh, this person is unreliable. Those are character traits. And the question is, what kind of character do you have? As an individual. The character attributes that I think most employers look for and that will lead to success. It's one, when you are hardworking, when you are patient, when you have integrity. Even in the Quran, Allah asks us to be patient. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, one of his nicknames was Al-Almin, which is someone of integrity. And for you, as for most people as a person, you want to associate with someone who is honest. And the other party that is not honest, you try to run away from that party. Right? You want to associate with someone who is hardworking. And if you are asked to choose anybody in your team, you're likely to choose those who are hardworking, reliable, dependable. You know, you have all those adjectives. So the question is, what kind of character do you have? And in my own experience, there are certain character attributes that you must have before you can be successful. All right. And so being hardworking, it's one. Humility is another one. You need to be humble. Patience is one. And that's an area where I'm still learning how to be patient. Integrity is one. You need to be someone who is honest. Perseverance, you need to be somebody that perceives, somebody that persevere even in the face of, or even in the face of crisis, even in the face of inadequacies. You must persevere. You also need to have what I call the habit of continuous learning. That you're always learning new things. You're always seeking to improve. Right. I left Ife University in 1990. And when I left in 1990, you can imagine there was no internet, we didn't have smartphones. And so if I choose to remain stuck in what I was taught in Ife, I will not be able to use Zoom, I will not be able to use smartphone, I will not be able to do much. And so you must continue to learn. Continuous learning will be one of those character attributes, because if you don't have that continuous learning mindset, then you are stuck. You are stuck in the past as the world moves ahead of you. And I think the other two character attributes that I found useful is in terms of having a long-term orientation versus short-termism. You know, unfortunately for most of us, we are short-term oriented. But you're going to be, if you be successful, you need to have a long-term orientation. No, it's what we joke about in the Yoruba parlance. You know, we say Surulere or Olorun Shogo. Indeed, you need to be a part of the Surulere community, where patience is a virtue that will be rewarded over time, as opposed to looking for instant reward, instant gratification, etc. And the last character mindset, or the last character attribute I will ask for, or I will suggest, is look beyond money. Everything cannot be about money, right? If everything is about money, then that means you have a price. And if you have a price, then that means whoever has the money can pay your price. And then you become a servant to money. And this is important, because when people want to change jobs, and they change jobs so that they can earn the next 1 million naira, or to earn the next 2 million naira, guess what? Your first month or your second month, you will enjoy the 1 million naira or 2 million naira. But by your third month, you realize that 1 million naira or 2 million naira is not enough, because your needs and your wants will also increase. So another character attribute is really just to take decisions. Don't be driven by money, don't be driven by wealth. Apologies to those who are not Yoruba speaking. But you know, Yorubas have this saying that Onwa Owolo Opade Ilono. Right. Basically saying you're looking for wealth. And then along the way, you met virtues, you met respect, you met recognition. What more are you looking for? Because wealth in itself is not an end, it's a means to an end. And so for me, I've never been driven by money. And you know, in my workplace, or my former workplace at Anderson, we have the concept of to be or to have. Do you want to be or do you want to have? And what we say at Anderson is that at Anderson is for those who want to be, not those who want to have. So at Anderson is a place for those who want to become professional, those who want to become the best in their amongst their peers, those who want to be the best accountant or the best auditor, but not for those who want to have the best car or have the best house or have the best whatever. And I've been driven by that whole concept of to be versus to have. When you become someone and somebody that is respected, you will have those things. Those things will come, right? But you can have a house, you can have a car, and not be and not be anybody in life. But if you become best in your class, if you become respected, you will have other things. Those other things will come naturally. So that's about character building to give us to have. The second thing about making progress and how I've landed where I am today is also about having an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. And it's important to understand the difference between those. Unfortunately, for most of us in Nigeria, and actually in Lagos, we have a scarcity mindset. We believe that everything is scarce, which is why there's a whole Molue bus, and you have just 5 people at the bus stop. The 5 of them will fight to enter that empty Molue bus, right? Which is why you will have gridlock at a junction because the 5 of us on the road, we don't want to give any each other opportunity to pass, which is why when you go to a party and they're serving food, everybody wants to be served and to eat in the first 5 minutes, because we believe that the food will not be enough to cater for all of us. So we have that scarcity mindset. And when you have a scarcity mindset versus having an abundance mindset, that makes you to be miserly. That makes you to just think of yourself and yourself alone. But if you think about the sky, Yorubas will say, Ojo orun teyefo, the sky is big enough for 1 million birds to fly and not touch each other or cross each other's path. So that abundance mindset is when you have that mindset, you realize that my progress is not at the expense of your own progress. It's not a zero-sum game. The 2 of us can be successful, right? The 10 of us can be successful. And my gain is not at your own loss. And I'm running my own race. It's not me versus you. I'm running my own race. My success is not defined relative to your own success or failure or. And when you have an abundance mindset, you tend not to worry about little things. And part of an abundant mindset is also having a positive mindset, is having a growth mindset, a mindset that things will be positive, things will grow. Like we all say, people say, sorry, can you hear me? Because someone just private chat me that they cannot hear from my hand.
Yeah, clearly, sir.
You can hear me? Okay, thanks. So Abdulatif Abubakar, others can hear me, so maybe a problem.
We can hear you, sir.
All right, thank you. Right, and I've lost the chain of my thoughts. But yeah, so that's about having a positive mindset or a growth mindset. I think the way I would like to describe it, finally, before I move to another topic, is this concept of a cup is half full or a cup is half empty, right? So why some will see a cup as being half full, some will see that cup as being half empty because they're focusing on the part that appears empty, right? But what someone shared with me, which I find very instructive, is that the cup is full. And that person said the cup is not half full and it's not half empty. The cup is full. One portion of the cup is full of water. The other portion is full of air. And that's a different way to look at things. So why some will look at it and say, okay, this cup has water up to the half mark. This person says, no, this cup is full. It's just that it's 50% water and 50% air. And so that speaks to mindset. Why some will say the cup is half empty, some will say the cup is half full, some will say the cup is full, but it's just half water, half air. The other thing I've found, beyond having the right character attributes, focusing on being versus having, and having an abundant mindset, the other thing I've found is that will be required for you to be successful is competence. You need to be competent in what you do. Competence is important. You need to be competent in what you do. If you are the mechanic, be the best mechanic. If you are a singer, be the best singer. If you are a tailor, be the best tailor. If you're a pharmacist, be the best pharmacist there can be. When you are competent at what you do, and people know you for what you do, people will patronize you, they will respect you, and that's the beginning of your journey. And every rational team leader or supervisor, we want to have the best people on his or her team. It's like a football coach. The football coach, you want to have the best players in his or her team. And so it doesn't matter whether you are a Muslim, whether you're a full hijabite or a niqabite or whatever. If you are the best pharmacist, everybody will want you in their team, because they know that, okay, without Niyi, this team is not complete. But if you don't have any special skills that they want or they covet and that they admire, then that's when they can decide to exclude you from the team. But if you are the best in what you do, anyone will want to have you in his or her team. So competence is very important. Be the best at what you do. The next thing to competence is find a coach, find a mentor, right? And I cannot underestimate, or I cannot overemphasize the importance of a coach or a mentor. The best footballers, the best players, right? Messi, Ronaldo, JJ Okocha, they all have a coach, right? It's a coach that brings out the best again in them. So you cannot get to a position when you say, I'm so good, I don't have a coach, I don't have a mentor. I mean, if I ask you who's your mentor, who's your coach, and you can't give me 3 good names in 30 seconds, I will move on and say, okay, this person is not a serious person. Who's a coach? Who's a mentor? A coach or a mentor is that person who has gone through the path before you. So the path you want to walk, that person has walked through that path before. The person has seen the challenges on the journey, and the person has successfully, overcame those challenges. That's who a mentor is. So the person can then guide you and say, okay, if you want to get to Ibadan from Lagos, I'm from Ibadan, so I can speak to how to get to Ibadan. If you want to get to Ibadan from Lagos, you go to Bagya. From Bagya, you get to Mowe. From Mowe, you get to Redeem. If they are doing program service in Redeem and the place is blocked, you can take Ofada to come out at Owode, or whatever it is, and then you get to the toll gate, you get to Ibadan. But if you don't have a mentor, if you don't have a coach who has gone through that same journey before, who can hold your hands, who can lit a torchlight and show you the way. When you get to Asheshe and Nasfat is doing a program and they block the express, you'll be stuck there. Or when you get to camp and Redeem is doing a program and they block the express, you'll be stuck there because you've not gone through that journey before, you've not experienced such a crisis before, and you don't have a mentor, a coach who has gone through similar experience and who can show you the path. And Yorubas, and again, apologies to the non-Yoruba speaking audience. Yoruba was which means that a young one may have beautiful clothes. But those are clothes of today. The young ones do not have experience like the adults. So find a coach, find a mentor, and you need more than one coach. You need more than one mentor. You may have a coach. If you're a pharmacist, you really need a coach who is a senior pharmacist or who is a retired pharmacist who has gone through that journey before. But that coach, for instance, may be a Christian. So that coach doesn't understand the Islamic values. So you then need to find another mentor and coach who is a Muslim who understands Islamic values. You may need another mentor or coach for your marital life to share marital challenges and issues with. So bottom line, you need more than one coach, you need more than one mentor, and overall, to be successful, you need at least one sponsor. You need one sponsor. And there's a difference between a mentor, a coach, and a sponsor. The best is if you can have a sponsor. A sponsor is someone that will actively promote you, support you, and push you forward. So if there's an opening to be for a commissioner position, a sponsor will nominate your name and will go and meet the governor and say, see, this is Amida Oladimeji. I know her. This is her CV. I encourage you to please take her as a commissioner for finance, and I'll actively be there to support. So that's a sponsor. So a sponsor has a personal interest in pushing you forward and will push you forward for opportunities. While a coach or a mentor will guide you, will show you the way, but may not necessarily sponsor you when there's an opportunity. So it's important to look for a sponsor. The other thing about progressing in life, it's creativity. You need to be creative. Can you guys hear me? Because someone just said, okay, fine. So I say as this, I say look for a sponsor. So that means I'm being it. Right. So it's creativity. You as a person also need to be creative. And creativity is what will allow you to go around a hurdle, if there's a hurdle, or go over it, or go under it, or go through it, but you will not be stuck. So you creatively find solutions to problems. And life is full of problems and life is full of challenges. The other thing about being successful is what I call community service. You must live a life of service. And you must serve the community. When you serve people, people will serve you. When you serve others, others will serve you. So you must live this life of service and be available to help folks. I mean, look at the sun. The sun shines on everyone, which is also part of this abundance mindset. If you have the right mindset. And so if you have potted plants, you have flowers that you put in a pot and you put inside your house. And after a week or two, you realize that the plants will tilt and move towards where the sun ray is coming from. If you have potted plants in your room, after a while, they will tilt and move towards where the sun is coming from. That's the thing about service. The sun shines on everyone. And in return, we all move towards the sun. And that's why the potted plants will gravitate towards where the sun rain is coming from. When you serve people, they will in turn serve you. You know, like we say, a good tongue, so a good deed, what's the word now? You something good, you get something in return. I've forgotten that phrase. But when you do good, you get something good in return. And like Allah says in Surah Al-Rahman, that surely there is no reward for good other than good. So when you serve the community will come back to serve you. You know, I have an hypothesis. If not hypothesis, I have a theory. And my theory is that there's virtually no one that I want to meet in Nigeria. I need just 2 phone calls. Just 2 phone calls. If I really, one good turn deserves another. Thank you, Miriam. That's, and Ridwan, thank you. That was the phrase I was looking for. One good turn deserves another. Right, so I have an hypothesis, and that is that it doesn't matter who I want to talk to. I need just 2 phone calls in Nigeria, just 2 phone calls. So if I want to speak with if I want to get to President Buhari, for instance, in today's balance, there are a few ministers that I know that I can call, and hopefully the ministers can extend me to the president. So that's just 1 call. But the question is, how did I get to meet these ministers? It was because I've served the community. One of them I met when he was a commissioner in 1995, who is today a minister. But then he was a commissioner, and I facilitated a workshop just like I'm doing now. And he was a member of that workshop, and we became friends. If you are, so because most of you are students or you just stopped being, just graduated, let me give an example in the university. If you are the best student in your department, and I know you are CGPA 5 out of 5, but that's all you do, you may not have the opportunity to meet the vice chancellor. But if you are a second-class upper student, you make a 2-1, you're also the best footballer in the school team, or you are the best basketballer, or you've won literary and debate and whatever for the school, or you've gone on to competition like SAIF and actors, and you've won something for the school, the VC is likely to know you. Not just because you are a first class or a 2-1 student, but because you've also brought honor, respect, and recognition to the school. And so that way you can pass through school and the school may not know you, or you pass through the school and the school knows you. It's a function of how you have also served the school community. But if all you do is from hostel to library, from library to school hall, and then to disco hall and to party, yeah, you graduate, but the VC may never know you. But if you brought honor and appreciation to the school, the vice chancellor will know you. And so if you want to meet the minister for education, for instance, you go to your vice chancellor, who can link you up with the minister for education, who can link you up with the president. That's how you make connections. That's how you build your network. But it's based on you serving the community. And when you serve the community in different formats, the community will come back to serve you. Today, I'm the president of NASFAT, and most of my relationships are based on doing what I'm doing now. Just sharing my own thoughts with brothers and sisters. but when you serve, others will serve you. And that brings me to the other thing of progress, which is you must have a good relationship network. You must have a good relationship network. I'm able to say that I need just 2 phone calls to get anyone because I have a good relationship network. And it has taken me time, by the way. So it won't happen overnight. And that's also what everybody needs to do. You need to begin to build a relationship network. So if I give an example, I went to IFE. I'm active in the IFE alumni. I'm active in my secondary school alumni. I'm active in NAXFAT. I'm active in Koyi Club. I'm active in a number of other fellowships. And active means you take leadership position. You serve those fellowships, you serve those communities. Not that you are just a member. I mean, you can be a member of NASFAT and you come in the morning and you pray to God, you shout on God, you ask Allah to give you everything. And then you drop 5,000 naira or 2,000 naira in the box, or like most of us do, you drop just 20 naira and then you go. You've not served. You only came there to benefit. But service is when you give back. And so in every association that I find myself, in every group that I find myself, I try to give back. And when you give back, you begin to build a community. You begin to build relationship relations. You begin to make emotional bank deposits that you can call on later to help you. And lastly, and I think I've touched about it because I have just 1 more minute. Lastly, is you need to contribute. Always look for ways to contribute. Don't just be a passenger in a bus. Be either the driver or be the conductor. Be in a leadership position. But what you should never do is remain a passenger. Passengers don't contribute and no one knows them. And if you want to be successful, look for ways to contribute. And believe me, in Nigeria, there are many, many, many ways for us to contribute. Nigeria is a country of followers who are looking for good leaders. And so if you step up and say you want to contribute and you want to lead, you have the opportunity. But for you to be a good leader, for you to be able to contribute and to lead, you must have the right character attributes. You must have an abundance mindset. You must be competent in what you do. You must have a coach, a mentor, a sponsor who can support you, guide you, and show you things you don't know. You must live a life of service, be willing to contribute to the community. And in terms of that, contribute to the community, I would suggest and recommend you try and join existing platforms. Try and join big, trusted platforms instead of trying to start something on your own, something small. And then part of the challenge is we're all trying to go into small items. But try and join a platform that already exists where you can serve. So you join a Rotary Club, you join a Lions Club, you join a NASFAT, you join an Ansaruddin, you join a Muslim Connect. It's important so that you are not just doing small things. I mean, like Rasulullah said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves all Muslims, but he loves the strong Muslims the more. So we all need to be part of a strong platform. And when you serve in a strong platform, that gives you the opportunity to serve. You must look for ways to contribute. Always contribute so that you put in more than you take out. And if you do all of this, those are the things I've done. And all I've said are things I've done. Personal examples of what I've done that has led me to where I am. And I pray Allah will make this day for each one of us and grant us success in all our endeavors. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Jazakumullah Khairan, for that very insightful presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Where do we even begin? You literally put us through everything we need to be a successful human being, and in our careers. May Allah bless you for it. May He continue to grant you abundant success all the days of your long life. Amen.
Amen.
Somebody has a question, but I don't think we can take the question now. So, sister, please drop your question in the chat. We'll take note of it and send it to him during the panel session. So, if you have any question you'd like to ask the person, the speaker, please put it in the chat, and we will curate them for the panel session in the afternoon, inshallah. Right now, we move on to the next presentation. So, because we're about 4 minutes behind schedule, we'll move on to the next presentation titled Find That Dream Job with Ease, to be delivered to us by one of our mentors, Mrs. Khadija Ola. Okay, technically, we have 10 minutes for questions, but I doubt that we'll be able to take them because my Oga wants us to go in line with it. So maybe we should take one question, one question. And the question, okay, so Mr. Siku Salami has asked that I drop this one question for you before we move on to the next session. Sir, should I go ahead with the question, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So the question says, sir, you rose through ranks to become the country chairman of Accenture Nigeria, one of the world's leading strategy firms. What challenges did you surmount to get there? What were the challenges you had to overcome to get that prestigious position?
I mean, there were nothing unusual in my view. No extra challenge apart from the challenge of just know what you do or know what you are doing, which is competence. And second is your character, being hardworking, being reliable, being dependable. And I think third is relationships. Being able to solve problems and having access to the right relationships. It was never my career goal or aspiration to be the managing director for Accenture. It was never. I never aspired for it. It was never. My aspiration was to be a partner, to lead, to be the head of the technology practice of Accenture. That was my aspiration. But I never aspired to be the country MD. I'm not one that wants to be in the limelight. And that's the important thing. Which is why I always tell people, when you do good work and you are humble and you lower your head to do your good work in silence, recognition will come. As opposed to those who know so little, yet they make the most noise. If you look at Suratul Luqman, what Luqman said to his child, the arrogant braying of an ass. So most times, to my mind, it's good to do good work and do it quietly, gently, without looking for a reward. The reward will come naturally. Right. So I don't think there was any special challenge. Accenture was a merit-driven environment, and I didn't have to know anyone. My work spoke for me. Now, maybe if it was a Nigerian company, it was a full Nigerian company then, there are challenges with Nigerian company, then you worry about office policies and merits and whatever. And but with Accenture, I didn't have to worry about all that. Just do your good work and the rest will come. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Somebody was asking, what are the things to look out for in a potential sponsor?
The first thing is the sponsor must be, you must have the same values. And so you must have the same value. So for instance, and to put it bluntly, if you're a Muslim, and you wear hijab, then you want to make sure that your sponsor is a Muslim that is comfortable with hijab. If you don't drink alcohol, then you want to make sure your sponsor is someone who doesn't drink alcohol. So you must have the same values. That is the first thing. So you need to know what are your values, what you cherish, right? If you cherish praying Ashri, Salat Ashri on time, then you need to make sure your sponsor is somebody who will pray Salat Ashri on time. Otherwise, the guy will call you for a meeting because that's not one of his own values. And I'm just putting it in that small example. But values is important. The second thing is be sure. So the two of you have the same values. The second thing is be sure of the integrity of the person, right? And so it's, Yorubas will say Ashonla koni enyonla, and some will also say inumi lori ori. Right? You don't want to pick a sponsor just because of the glamour that you see associated with that person. Meanwhile, at night, that person is a thief. That person is someone who has, is a pen, if not a gun, and if not an armed robber, is a pen robber, right? So be sure that this is somebody of integrity, hardworking, who you share the same values. Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. So don't pick someone because of the glittering, the external glittering. Pick someone because of their inner intrinsic values. And lastly, be sure that person has time for you, has interest in you. Right? So it's a relationship and it has to be mutual. If that person doesn't have the time, the interest in you, then that person cannot be your sponsor. Right. Okay. So the two of you must choose each other, but you first need to be sure that it's of the right values. And then be sure the person has your time.
Okay, mashallah. Jazakallah khairan. I think I have about 3 questions here, but we can't take them. But probably later in the day during the panel session, maybe. Moving on to the next presentation. Thank you very much, sir, for that question. So just if you missed the main point of this presentation, please note that a number of things have been shared and some of it are being shared on the chat. Some people are being very kind, sharing the main point as they are being stated. So if you're unable to follow along and you feel like you've missed 1 or 2 things, just check the chat. There are a number of pointers that have been left there for you to pick. So we move on quickly to Mrs. Olawanyi's presentation titled Find the Dream Job with Ease. Find that dream job with ease. And while she's setting up our screen, because I would read our profile. Ms. Olawanyi.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Good to see you again.
Thank you. I greet each and every one of us with the best of greetings, which we've been ordained to follow. I'm glad to be here.
I'm very honored to have you with us.
I'm privileged to be.
Let me read your citation before you go so I don't get fired. This, but permit me to read the citation. It was another long one that I had to edit, so just so to save time.
You can summarize.
Okay, so quickly, Mrs. Khadija Olawoyin, GPHR, is a senior HR manager with CFA AO. She is a certified global professional in HR with extensive experience in recruitment and also as a generalist HR practitioner. She has worked in large multinational organizations with quality exposure to managing recruitment within Africa, Middle East, and Europe. She is a certified process auditor and also holds a master's degree with specialization in human resources management. Please join me in welcoming the very awesome Mrs. Khadija Olawoyin.
Thank you, Sister Mutias.
Thank you.
I'm privileged to be sharing my experiences as a global recruiter and also to see what I can relate to it in Nigeria, being the environment we find ourselves, and how we can navigate to search for jobs. Before I comment, I would like to state clearly that finding a job is a full-time job on its own. For example, I have a job and I want to get another job. It means it's a job entirely. I don't have a job and I need to search for a job. It's a job on its own. So as an individual, how do I navigate about my search? Hello? Okay, so
I
my
can hear
experience,
you.
you can hear me, okay. My experience share will cover just what you can see on my screen: why, how, where, what do I need to do, and what I shouldn't do in search, as I proceed to search for my job. I'll speak first on the how. How do I find my job? The first thing you need to do, you need to develop specific skills in readiness for the job market. Just like the previous presenter said, if you have a coach or mentor, this individual would have shown you a path where you can follow to develop specific skills for your preference job or market. You have to show interest to build these skills, and you have to be passionate about developing the skills. You cannot give up and say you are tired along the way and abandon the mission. This will mean you are not ready to search for the job. Step one, you need to know who you are. Who am I? I didn't mean your name when I ask who you are. What you should focus to define yourself is your strengths, your weaknesses. What are you passionate about? What are your values? And this screen shows examples of how you can help yourself to define who you are. And I give some examples. If I'm highly numerate, I know it's a strength for me. This can help me to navigate what type of job I should be focusing to search, what type of profession I may go into in future. Am I a good communicator, or I struggle to express my ideas? It means I won't be able to take jobs that will require me to stay in front of people to express my ideas. Maybe I need to be at the back end office to be like a technical support, product development, product initiation, but I won't be able to interface with customers to express or sell the products we have developed. Am I tenacious, or I give up at every little challenge? Am I a fearless person? Can I fly the plane? Can I climb the height? Or I fail at every little thing? I cannot even drive a car. It will guide you about what job you should search. Am I afraid of rejection, or I take rejection as feedback like Tiger Woods and go back to the pitch to train and become the world champion that Tiger Woods is, that he is today? If you fear rejection, you cannot go to anywhere and you cannot improve yourself. So if I give example of some weaknesses, for example, I don't like numeracy, I'm timid, I don't like to be stressed, I don't want to take risk, and I'm always not consistent with what I'm doing. These are weaknesses. It doesn't mean you cannot take your choice jobs or you cannot follow your desired career. It means you are able to work on these weaknesses and become a better you and focus on what you want to achieve in the market. What am I passionate about? Do I like to solve issues or I like to create issues? Do I like to learn? Do I love traveling, or I have phobia for flying? I have phobia for long distance traveling. Am I passionate about community service? Because community service is another opportunity where you can build your skills, where you can build your network, and where you can really know people. I'll get to where I'll give you examples of where community work has really been of immense help to me as an individual. Are you an outgoing person or you don't like to go out? So if you know what your passion is, it will help you to know what type of jobs you should follow. For example, I don't like traveling. Can I work in HR? Can I do sales? Can I do product development? I don't like learning new things. It means you cannot get to anywhere. You just have to learn new things. You have to know what you love. You have to know what you are passionate about, because it is the passion that will keep you going when the challenges occur on the job. The passion you have for it will keep you going. Then your values. Do I have integrity? Is my yes, yes? Or I sometimes say B when it is A. How passionate about my family. Some people, they don't want to leave their family. They cannot go to work in Abuja for a month or two because they are passionate to stay closer to their family. How agile am I? Is it only physical agility, or I'm combining my agility with my mental agility? You have to combine the two. Physical agility alone is not sufficient in this modern market. It has to be a combination of physical and mental agility. Your faith is another thing you have to be careful. You have to be deliberate about when you are choosing a career. Where do you want to work? Do I want to work in the beer industry? You know, there are so many things you have to consider. Do I want to work in the hotel? Do I want to work in where they manufacture things that are contraceptives? We've had issues of some people where they decided to resign because the pharmaceutical company was producing contraceptive medications. And these people, they are even not Muslims, and they resigned. Performance. How passionate am I about performance? Do I just want to be a team member? Do I want to lead the team? Do I want to be a value or a number in the team? So these are all the things we have to focus when you want to channel your energy to find a job. Okay. The job market is classified generally into three. We have undergraduates. You also have some company, they will pay you for internships. Some, they will not pay you for internships. You also have to learn certain skills that are specific. For example, I love to work in oil and gas. I would like to work in finance departments in oil and gas. This industry, they have specific tools, specific software that they use in their finance department. If you have a coach or a mentor that can tell you how you can build these skills, it will make your journey easier. If you don't have, it means you have to learn the general Excel that you can quickly modify to suit the environment. As you plan your journey from the undergraduate years, I always advise people, not from after your graduation, from while you were in the university, volunteer for internships, non-paid or paid, or look for someone to sponsor you to learn a skill that you need to become marketable when you leave the university. We also have some classification that people that have less or equal 5 years post NYC, they may be looking for job industry specific, or they want to migrate. For example, today I'm customer care agent. I've been customer care agent for 5 years and I'm not developing. There's no evolution for me. So how do I do to migrate? What do I need to do? Do I need to obtain additional certification? Do I need to go and volunteer when I'm on leave? Do I need to go and work in a smaller company to build my readiness for the job I really desire? How do I go about it? Some people are also mid-level. And under mid-level, you have highly skilled. People that are highly skilled, they want to move. People that wants to migrate, like I gave an example of customer service agency, or I'm an events planner, or I'm in sales, I don't like sales. I'm in HR, I don't like HR. I'm in finance, I don't like finance. You can migrate. It's very easy to migrate, but you have to plan your migration and you have to be well guided about it. Now, what should form my focus as I'm searching for a job? These are the things that must form your focus. Foundational skills, these are basic and common skills. Office packages like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, communication is always there. You can never take it away because I have an idea. My idea is in my head. If I don't know how to express my idea, nobody will buy my idea. So your communication must be superb. And this skill, you can learn it anywhere, everywhere, anytime. You must just be ready. Your presentation skill, how good is it? Because when you go for interview, you are expressing yourself in response to questions. They would like to see how good you are making your presentation, how you making your eye contact, how you making your body language, things like this. Logic, how can you forecast? Can you forecast with precision, or reliability ratio for your precision is always 0? These are basic skills you need to know, you need to learn. Then you move to the industry. If you are passionate about specific industry, for example, I would like to work in telco. Which area in telco do I want to work? Engineering, or finance, or sales, or equipment support? You will find people in the industry that are doing it and they can tell you how they got there. Just learn from them and build a skill, make life easier for you. And if it is occupational specific, you apply the same principle of industry-related experience to build your skills and readiness for the job. But not that it comes easy. I'm saying it like this just for you to know that you have to invest your time, energy, and you have to demonstrate your readiness to learn and upgrade yourself at all times. If I tell you that about 80% of job seekers, they don't even know how to go about the search, is the truth. They don't know how to go about the search for job. I don't know why it's like this, but once again, I'm happy and excited that MMC is bringing this type of opportunity to the UMA for us to exchange ideas and share experiences, how they can go about the job stage. Number one is what I have showed you about your personal assessment. Know who you are. Know where your strength is. I read mass comm. Can I work in finance? I read fine and creative arts. Where can I work? You have to know yourself and align it with what you can do. Sometimes you may even abandon what you studied. Sometimes, if you are really, really passionate. I've seen someone that got a job recently. She read creative arts, and today she calls herself financial enthusiast. She has gone to do so much about financial literacy. Now she's writing a haiku. I was really, really impressed. So once you know yourself, impossible is nothing. You just have to be committed. Establish your interests. Know the job markets and requirements. Language advantage, for example, until now, it is still the practice. When recruiting, they don't want somebody that can speak only Hausa and English, only Yoruba and English. No, they will not take somebody who can speak Igbo, Yoruba, and English, or Hausa, Igbo. You just have to combine the language. Only one language cannot get to a job in the call center. It's not possible. Till today, it's not possible. And when you move to the international level, to the global landscape, you must learn additional language. For example, you can learn French, you can learn Japanese, you can learn German as you like, you can learn Arabic as you like, and wherever your passion is driving you, make sure you have additional language to upsell yourself when you're in the job market. Obtain relevant certifications, those of us that find ourselves in the professional career, finance, IT, HR, sales, marketing, no matter the safety, you must have your certification is a starting point for you. It says you're a professional and you're expert in your field or industry. Source for career mentor, you can never overestimate this, it helps a lot. Open a competency-based account. What do I mean by this? It means, for example, I want to improve my Excel skill. I can open a file to be start with basic Excel, intermediate, advanced. You can get somebody to teach you how to do it, and it's very easy for you to improve. You have to dedicate time and increase your credits. Every day you take it as an account and you put some effort there to make sure your competency account increases. And get a trusted someone that will give you objective feedback. Don't wait to be the one assessing yourself. Get a third party that will criticize you. Take the criticism in good faith. Take it like a sandwich, which is the breakfast of what. Now I've told you the basic things you need to know on how to search for job. I'm moving next to having a presentable resume, which is a voice. Your CV is definitely your voice. When some people send me CV, the subject is my CV. I don't waste time to put it where it belongs, trash. And this is how recruiters do. Not that they are wicked or they don't like to give feedback. It's because in a day, if you're a recruiter, you may receive CVs in hundreds in a day. So you don't have time to be opening my CV. My CV is nothing. Make your CV in your name or in your area of expertise is better. So if I'm opening 10, 20 my CVs, where do I start? Recruiters want you to use your name to save your CV. Now let's go to do's of resume. I'll first pick on do's of resume. Please, my sisters and brothers, arrange your name in a way that is globally acceptable. I would say 90% global acceptance. The way you must arrange your name is first name, middle name. For all of us that have 3 names, your surname must be last and it has to come in caps. When all your names comes in full caps, nobody can distinguish between who you are and who is your family. You know, I said your CV is your voice. Make sure your CV says that this is me, with your surname in full caps. It helps us to distinguish who the person we're about to open the CV. Always have an objective. After your name, let it come your objective. The objective can be very simple, but we tell the recruiter what you plan to do or where you desire to be a value. Objective can be very simple. If you don't know how to do it, you can get somebody to help you to do it. Active phone number on your CV is very, very important. Some people have like 4 numbers. One is for browsing, one is for, but it's the reality I'm telling you. Make sure you have maximum 2 numbers. One that it is for you and one for somebody reliable that can contact you immediately within hours in case the phone is off or is not, or you are not available. Marital status. In Nigeria, this is necessary. They want to see single or married, something like that. But in other parts of the world, it's not mandatory, it's not necessary. But in Nigeria, sometimes it's necessary. some people, they are strict about it, some people are not strict about it. But I would advise that we specify. It doesn't work against you in any way, and it doesn't work for you in any way. Just to declare basic information required for anybody to make a decision. They will never use it against anybody. I've never seen anyone using it against somebody. They will rather tell you that the job requires that you work 24/7, or they'll ask you a question about what do you think about traveling? Can your family allow you to travel? Can you work 24/7? Can you do shift work? This is what they will ask you. They will not ask you that because you are married, you will not be employed. It's not possible. Some of us also like to put sex on our CV. This is not allowed. Just put gender in matured economy or Europe. You cannot put gender. They can even sue you for being discriminative, because we have transgender, we have same people that are cohabiting, you know, we have lesbian, we have gays, so they don't even bother to put it. But in Nigeria, please just specify, but don't put sex, put gender. Font type and font size. I'm still talking about those of resume. If you are using a particular font size, please be deliberate about it and let it be the same font size throughout from the body of your CV. The heading can be bold, but it has to be different, the same font size. These are the basic things we look for when we are recruiting, because once we're having like five, six types of font sizes, we already make an opinion about this person can't pay attention to details. This person will not be able to be creative. This person, so many assumptions just because my CV is not having the same font size and font style. Please, I want us to be deliberate about this when we are doing our CV. Email address. Oh, some people love to use complex email addresses like lovemeforever@yahoo.com. You know, email that you cannot even put a meaning, or you give me an impression already that I'm opening your CV. Some people will put, I'm sorry to use this example, Hamed4Christ@gmail.com. It's a reality, you know, it's to tell you that it's already a revert. Why will I use such on my email? Please use email. Some people will use, there's one I saw recently, something like some, you know, very, very funny things like that. What I would advise us to use is, please put your name and surname as your email address. For example, mine is ohokadija@gmail.com. Some people can be simpler as you like it, but please don't names. For those that have they have reasonable work experience, like 3 to 5 years or even 2 years, when you are reporting your previous work experience, make sure you include your achievements. And in including your achievements, use percentage to quantify. For example, I increased sales turnover by 50% in 2019. I reduced OPEX by 45% in 2019. Use example and use percentage to quantify. Even if somebody helps you to do your CV, it is your responsibility to read it again and again and again to ensure it has no typo error, that the date of birth is not different from what you want to put. Some people, they have like 3 dates of birth. They have biological date of birth, official date of birth, social date of birth. Please know the one you use. If you are the type that changes it, it's not good to change it, but do not leave it to the person that did this for you. If somebody helped you to do your CV, make sure you take responsibility, take ownership, and read it by yourself. And about passport on CV, is also not advisable to put passport photograph on your CV, because once you put your passport photograph, the person will already have an opinion about who you are. The opinion might be wrong, it might be right. So recruiters always advise that we do not put our picture on our CV. And if you are in doubt about how to make a good CV, please speak to someone to help you. It's not a crime to have somebody to help you to do your CV. Just make sure you read it again and again so that you take responsibility for the error or whatever inadequacies the person has put there. Now I will proceed to don'ts of resume, the things you shouldn't have there. If you have if the experience is short, especially if you were asked to go, if it is not redundancy, if you were terminated or dismissed, please don't bother to put it in your CV. If it is short, not that you are lying about it, but you don't want to also extend your narration when it comes to defending it. But if it is like, I did a 3-month job during my undergraduate years, I did a 1 month or 6 weeks, you can put it, but you have to specify that it was volunteering, so that it doesn't look like as if it's a paid employment. No need to specify your faith, no matter where you are. Nigeria, Europe, Middle East, leave it. Nobody is recruiting you because of your faith. They're recruiting you because you are competent to do the job, because you meet the requirements that have been advertised for you to do the job, or for anybody to be attracted to fill the position. No need to specify your faith. It's not going to work for you or against you. Move on. And in these days of insecurity, I would like to advise that we do not specify our residential address on our CV. You can use Bagada, Lagos, Lekki, Lagos, Ikoyi, Lagos, Amokoko, Lagos, Ebutemeta, Lagos, Lagos. Don't put your address. If they need to collect it after the interview, if you are successful, they will give you a form where you need to complete your personal data. And now in Nigeria, there's an act that has just been enacted, ensuring that every employer is protecting the data they are collecting from job seekers or employees. So everybody you are giving your data, they are mandated to make sure it is protected. They cannot release it now. So don't voluntarily release any data. And the one I would advise you not to release is your residential address. If they're interested in you, they can contact you, they want to offer you a job. Where do you live? They will tell you. Because sometimes they may even use it against you during shortlisting if you put your address. For example, if I live in Ikorodu and the job is VI, they may not even shortlist you. They will already be empathic about how you want to make up for the distance. They won't even know if you have a friend in Ikoyi or VI or Lekki that you can manage during the week and you go on weekend. They will never bother to ask you. They will already form an opinion because they see Ikorodu. Please don't put your address. It's not that you are lying. One, for security purpose. Secondly, you don't want anybody to form an opinion about you missing the requirements for the job. It's not mandatory we put it. So move on, don't put it. And please do not give conflicting information on your CV. When you do it, read it again. When you have dates of employment conflicting with each other, with one another, something like that, is already knock you out from the shortlisting process. Make sure again and again you read all over and all over again. Information that gives away your resume, for example, your age, like I give an example. You have some people, the CV will show that they left primary school in 2010, and they will tell you again that they left secondary school in 2012. It's tough. So please don't let us belong to this type of people. Let us be transparent. Transparency is very good. Honesty is very good. This will always work for us. It will never work against us. References, don't bother about it. It will not work against you and it will not work for you. So ignore. You can just put a note to say it will be provided upon request. If you are hired or given a job, they will give you a form to provide details of your references. I've already mentioned reporting work-related achievements, and I would like to also add that, for example, those that have 3 to 5 years experience and you are changing job, your past job, please make sure you report it in the past. And if it is a great achievement, you use the pronoun we instead of I always. Use one or two that shows it was a collective effort with you and the team, not that it's only you doing the achieving the target or delivering the results. This will mean that you are not a team player, or you don't want to work with people, or you are not comfortable working with people. Always use sometimes we instead of me or I. Okay, avoid, I already mentioned it, avoid unprofessional email address like showball lover. These are three examples. Cute chic, Said for face, things like this. Please use email address that will speak to your name. For those of you that are currently working, avoid using your official email address on your resume. It may be discovered. You know, technology, anything is possible. Your mail can be tracked. You can have backup at the head and at the back end, and they can see all the emails going out or coming in the organization. Use your personal email address, not official. Okay, reason why you left previous one. You don't need to state this on your CV. For example, I left a job 3 or 4 years ago. Don't put why you left. Let them ask you why you left during interviews or when they are giving you some forms to complete. On your CV is a no-no. If your GPA was a 2.2, minimum 2.2, 2.1, minimum, things like that, you can specify. But if you have like 10 years experience, you may not bother to. And please, if you made a third class, it doesn't mean you cannot find a job. Don't bother to put it there. Third class doesn't mean you cannot find a job. And it doesn't mean you are a failure or anything. It means you can even be a superstar tomorrow. With third class, I've seen many third class people doing amazingly well in the industry, and they are competing excellently well with any first class. So your third class is not a cause, it's not a barrier for you to be who you've been designed to be in life. It's just your mindset, your passion and ability to challenge status quo and move on in life. I've spoke about your photo. So the next one is, please don't password your CVs. Send CVs to me and it is passworded. I will never call them to give me their password. I don't need the password. I just move on to another person. How will you password your CV? It's a public document. You cannot password CV. Please don't password your CV. Please, it's a special appeal I'm pulling on this one. And when you're sending CV, don't make my CV subject of your email. For example, Sister Mutias is going to send me a CV. She will now say my CV as subject. No, I won't be able to open it. I will not be able to open it because it's already telling me that I'm already interpreting so many things behind this, my CV. She will put it, Mutias CV for marketing position, things like that. Mutias CV for accounting, for finance role. You have to put your name plus what you are able to do or where you want to come in the organization. How do I search? Now that we have a good CV, I'm going to always search. There are several methods of searching for jobs. Some of it we know, some we don't know. I'm just going to share my experience with you, and it varies, and each one is unique from the other. The first one is family and friends. For example, within MMC, there are times they have good contacts in the industry that shares vacancies with them, that ask them about, do you have anybody that is looking for a job? Do you have any NYC looking for placement? They work on this very well, I know, and they do it excellently well. So MMC is part of our family. Let's take it like that, because we are one woman. Family and friends is number one. Social media, including LinkedIn, you can post your profile on LinkedIn. Recruiters and companies, they always go there to search for profiles. Recruitment agencies, some you pay, some the employer will pay. So it depends on the recruiter you are talking to, but it works well and they are reliable because this is what they do for a living. They are reliable. They search for job. very well. Then in Nigeria, I don't see this happening frequently. Maybe NASFAT can set the pace or MMC can set the pace. You organize recruitment fairs. In Europe, it happens a lot. And this is where you go to bring people that are Nigerians. They want to repart to Nigeria. They go to fairs. They don't pay. It's the companies that will pay. Companies that is participating in the fair, they will pay. And they will employ people from overseas and they pay them repatriation allowance. They'll settle them and their family members. You can see that competing for a job is not even only within people that are with you in Nigeria. People abroad that may also want to come back home, they are competing with you. Social events. My friend is getting married, send forth party, child name me, you may have one or two information about employment. It happens. Religious organizations, faith-based, they also have their network, they have their contacts, they have information from time to time. That is why, again, like Mr. Anani Yusuf said, it is good to belong to an organization. The collective effort makes us stronger as one, and we can give and we can take is a benefit, and you also sacrifice. Religious organizations, I know they are not only in mosques, even in churches. They do it a lot. In mosques, they do it. I know Danzaruddin does it a lot. I know Nasfa does it. I also know Micah does it. So I know these people that they've worked with employers in the past and they are still very strong. They believe this is what they can do to make people feel the impact of belonging to an association. Personal networking. I know somebody somewhere, knows somebody somewhere, like that. You get to know the information and you get the job. If you are fit for the job and you do well at the interview, all the selection processes. Club, like fitness club, social club, educational clubs. Like I'm a member of Toastmasters. I know from time to time they share with us vacancies in multinationals in Nigeria, outside Nigeria. They share with us information about job fairs. There was one they did in Gambia recently. They plan to do another one next year. They share this information. It's a social club base. They also give us information about employment. So you can belong to all these type of associations, even if represents you may create some time to know that they always share information about recruitment a lot. Ife and Unilag, they are very strong. These are the two I know. I'm sorry if I use it as an example. Now I've got to interview tips. Now that you have your CV, somebody has invited you for interview, and what do I need to do to prepare for my interview? The first thing is try to locate the venue in advance. Don't wait till the days of the interview before you start to ask questions. You have to be proactive. You have to ask questions in advance about, please, for example, I have an interview somewhere in Lekki and I live in Ikeja. It means I have to ask questions about the venue in advance, either from the person that invited me or from someone I know lives in Lekki. If I may go the extra mile, I will even visit the venue before, just to know the environment and to be familiar in case I'm going to take a Uber or a public transport to get there. I want to be there on time. Be there in time. Research in advance and know about the company. Please don't wait till the day of the interview before you start to practice. You have to practice the interview. You can research for likely questions on the internet and get practiced in advance. Stay in front of the mirror to see how you can do. Let somebody in your family ask you questions. This in advance before the day of the interview. You are very comfortable talking to the people. You make your eye contacts, you can gesticulate, you'll be calm and well comported. Be tidy and simple. Observe the environment. Maintain positive body language. Communicate clearly and use simple phrases. Some people like to use big English. Please avoid it during interviews. Be direct in your response and questions. Make eye contact with every panel member. Some people will be looking, only one person asking. You have to make eye contact with everybody on the panel. It says a lot about your courage, your confidence. You don't need to be timid. No, please. You know, one funny thing I observed recently, when you invite people for interview, they'll not, the first thing they'll do is to look for where to charge their phone. Please don't be like this. Do not be looking for where to charge your phone immediately you get to the venue. Observe and see what you can learn from the environment. Negotiate smartly. Give a range to be on safe side, especially if you don't know what that industry pays and you don't know anybody in the organization that can give you information about the pay structure. Be on safe side. Give a range. When you give a range, you are not blocking yourself to a corner. You are giving them flexibility to do what will make you happy and satisfied when you come on board. And when you come on board, don't worry about Mr. Hayes any more than you, Mr. B. No, time will come when you will be, when your work will speak for you and you will get that recognition, promotion, salary adjustment. It will come naturally. If you don't have any question, please tell them no question. But it's good to ask a question either about the organization or to ask a question about, may I know why this position becomes vacant? What happened to the person that was on the job? It may be additional recruitment. It may be somebody is going on retirement. It may be somebody has been terminated. This could be many reasons. If you don't have any question, this may be the only question for you to ask. It's an opportunity to also know about the company's culture and how they expand or reduce. Please, you are the type that you are not comfortable to go out without perfume. When you are going for interview, avoid using a perfume, especially the one that is very strong. You can use deodorant that is mild. You know, some people, they get irritated when they perceive perfume, irrespective of what you term it. Either it is to hide your body odor or something like this. No, panel, they will not even give you opportunity. They will not show empathy. You know, I don't know why it's like this, but this is what I've learned. So I always advise people when you are going for interview, use only deodorant or a very mild one. Some that you call mild might be even harsh to me. So to be on safe side, if it is not compulsory for you to use it, if it's not that you are trying to hide your body odor, please avoid this. And do not be in a hurry to charge your device while waiting to be interviewed. It's always works again because there's CCTV everywhere. Some people are observing you. The receptionist is also observing you. They make certain opinion already for someone who comes in and looking device. You've not been invited to come and charge you, or while you're in transit. So, and another thing I've observed is while people are waiting to be interviewed, what they do is to be pressing their phone. Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp. Look for a magazine that you find on the table of the reception to read, or a newspaper. Don't be too engrossed with your phone. You know, generation differs a lot, and some companies they may misinterpret it. Just to be sure that you are well composed, you are paying attention to the environment. Please don't be engrossed with your device while you are waiting for interview. You know, some employers, I don't know why, me as a professional, I don't do it. They will schedule people for 9 o'clock. They will not interview the people till 12. Some do it, they will tell me, we're doing it to test the tenacity of the people. No, it's not fair. But you find yourself in patience, victory. So now I'm going to mention some things employers are looking for when they have a first class, I have a 2-1, I have ACC, I have ABCC. They are not looking for only the academic qualification. Employers are looking for combination of knowledge, skills, and attitude. And my slide is showing you some things that are attitude, integrity, ownership mindset. They want to know that you are really an entrepreneur, passion, articulation, writing skills, appreciable social index. No matter your job now, you must have a social index that is appreciable, if not excellent. Tenacity, mindfulness. Mindfulness will help you to multitask. So if you're not mindful, nobody will want to keep you on a job, something like this. You must be persuasive, proactive, optimism. You have to believe that you can deliver. Don't doubt yourself. You have to be self-driven. You have to be self-motivated. And good interpersonal skills, focused, physical and mental agility. And lastly, I would like to recommend these two books for you. You know, I like to read a lot because reading is the only way that can make you to be continually relevant. It's like a bank, it's just like your bank account. If you don't put any drop, it will disappear. It's just like your faith too. If you don't make effort to put a drop per day to improve your knowledge about your deen, about your skill, about your social life, it will disappear and you now end up struggling to look for a wrong fruit or effort to come back to normal. Make sure you put something every day to be what you are designed to be. So for those people looking for jobs, I recommend per day as you make up already to keep the joint organization, even if they are doing redundancy. If you are two in your team and they want one person to go, if you have this attitude, you'll be the one person to stay and you will not go. So the plan to get a dream job or build a career is actually in your arms, and give it all it takes to achieve it. Thank you.
Jazakallah khairan for that presentation. If you feel that that was a very insightful presentation, please put it in the chat. Say thank you to Ms. Alawan for the time she's taken. And even for me that I'm not looking for a job, I felt like she was making sense to me too. So I can't even imagine if you're an undergraduate or somebody, in between jobs. That was amazing. That was amazing. And for those of us that are probably recruiters or small business owners who would like to have people on our teams, we will definitely find some sense there. Jazakumullah khairan for that presentation. Do we have time for a quick question? If you have any question, please put it in the chat. If we can't take it now, we will take it during the panel session. So please put your question in the chat so that I may note it now, and hopefully we'll be able to take it during the panel session, inshallah. Okay, so we're 12 minutes behind schedule, so we'll move quickly to the last presentation of the day, which is supposed to be like a part 2 for Mrs. Olawain's presentation. So the first presentation we just finished hearing is titled Find That Dream Job with Ease. So we are moving on to the next presentation titled How to Keep a Job. So if you do everything that Ms. Olawain said and you got the job, so it's one thing to get through the door, it's another thing to stay put and do an amazing job there. And that's what the next facilitator is going to be taking us through. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Yinka Yusuf, FCCA, a partner at PwC. He's a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Nigeria, ICANN, and a fellow of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA. He has several years of experience providing audit and other assurance services to indigenous and multinational companies in various industries, including industrial products, fast-moving consumer goods, telecommunication, and technology. Mr. Yinka Yusuf, you have the floor, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Alhamdulillah. So let me start off by saying a big thank you to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share knowledge. I'm very, very excited to be here. Over the next 30 minutes. You're welcome. Over the next 30 minutes, I've been tasked with the responsibility to speak about how to keep a job. But I want to look at this from a couple of perspectives, because there's a lot to unpack here. The first thing is there are several ways you can lose your job. The first one will be if you do something that is clearly against the terms of contract between yourself and your employer rather. And the other bit will be, let's assume there's a right sizing in an organization, and you have a situation where you need to do some ranking. So what happens in most cases is the employer will do a ranking, and they'll look at it like a threshold. They will draw a line, and they will say people below this will have to ask them to go. So you probably didn't even do anything wrong, okay? You just find yourself in the bottom, in that bottom feeder kind of. So what we'll be talking about will be addressing those two areas. Things you need to do or things you need to avoid so that you don't get fired outrightly. And then we'll talk about how to avoid being part of, the bottom feeder, just in case there's a right sizing and you then get chopped up as part of the right sizing, okay? So that's how I'm going to look at this session. So if you give me a second, let me see if I can share my screen. I think I put together 1 or 2 slides to guide our discussion today. Can you confirm if you can see my screen, please?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I put together a couple of points and concepts just to guide our thoughts and guide the discussion for the next 30 minutes or thereabout. And the first thing I came up coincidentally is also the first thing Alhaji Yusuf came up with when he was having his presentation, and that is around good character. Okay, this is like the basics. This is like the foundation of everything. In terms of integrity, honesty, transparency, professionalism. Typically, when you're having a discussion or you're assessing people's performance and there's a competency issue, yeah, you can find out ways to, kind of work out like a performance improvement plan for that person. But when it becomes an integrity issue, that ends there, right? An investigation is done, and if it is, if you found wanting, the person will be fired. The easiest way to get fired is through something like this, okay? Dishonesty, right? Not also proper. I'll give you a quick story. So this happened a long time ago in one of the auditing firms. So a team was required to travel from Lagos to Port Harcourt to go do a job, yeah? And they were supposed to incur the expenses, and when they come, they'll retire the expenses and they get reimbursed. So when they came back to Lagos, they showed the manager on the job. I mean, as part of their retirement, they had a flight ticket to Port Harcourt and receipts for lunch at Ore. If you know the geography of Nigeria very well, Ore is between Lagos and Benin, right? And there's no way you will fly to Port Harcourt and have lunch at Ore. Those guys were instantly fired, okay? Because obviously, I mean, they were being fraudulent, more or less, okay? Even in my organization, where we fill timesheets as part of our weekly, how you report on what you've been working on a weekly basis. If it comes to bear that someone in the organization has been filling timesheets wrongly, that in itself is a sackable offense, all right? So these are things that actually contribute to, your character, okay? If there is an integrity issue, you're gone. The other bit I quickly want to talk about around good character is something that is quite common these days. And I mean, alhamdulillah, from an Islamic perspective, I don't expect it to be a concern for us, but I think it will not be fair if I don't talk about it, which is something around sexual harassment and how you interact with the opposite sex, okay, at work. Please, that's another easy way to get fired, okay? So I'll hang all this discussion around good character on one last statement, which is Allah says in the Quran that in the Prophet, you have a perfect example. That's the best of the human being that had the best of character was the Prophet, okay? So as long as you told that line, you will be fine. You will be fine, right? One other thing to quickly talk about here will be professionalism and dependability. If your employment letter says resume at 8 o'clock, trust me, there's no skill, there's no talent per se that is required for you to be at work at 8 o'clock, right? It's just commitment. There's no special skill to it, or you to be on time for every meeting. There's no special talent to it. So please, good character, absolutely critical. Let's be mindful of that. The next one I have is around understanding your organization, okay? You need to understand the culture of the organization. You need to know who the decision makers are, okay? You can only survive in an environment that you understand. Take that again. You can only survive in an environment that you understand. So you need to know what's going on. I'll quickly introduce the concept of rubber balls and glass balls. I mean, this works for me. I'll quickly share with you. If I pick a rubber ball now and I throw it against the wall, it'll probably bounce back to me. But if I take a glass ball and I throw it against the wall, it'll probably smash, okay? So this is the same thing that you need to introduce into the work environment. What concepts within the organization will constitute a rubber ball that I will get a second opportunity at? If I throw it against the wall, it will come back to me. As against those that are glass balls that I throw them against the wall, they will crash. I'll give you a good example. Late coming could be a rubber ball in some organizations, right? You can come to work late every day. It will just be like, guy, why are you coming to work late, right? But in some other organizations, that could be it. Okay, so that's part of your understanding what is critical to your own organization, all right? And it's not just about concepts, it's also about people, okay? Who are the people that are on my side that, I can classify them as a rubber ball, that they will give me that benefit of doubt or they will give me the second chance? And who are the people that I cannot afford to mess with, okay? You need to be able to understand this, and you need to be able to appropriately, classify people and things and concepts and ideologies within this. That way, you will know what is important to you in your organization. So, one thing you then need to be careful about is the things or the people that are rubber balls. Please don't take them for granted. Don't say because I throw them, they will always come back. I always have a second chance. Trust me, rubber balls lose their elasticity. And if you throw them too much, they will tear. Okay? So if you come to work late constantly, one day your boss will look at you and say, young man, that's it. I don't want you here anymore. Please go, Mr. Pierre. I don't want you anymore. You're gone. So let's be mindful of that. The other bit we need to be mindful about is what is value to my organization. Okay? You have to the goals have to align. There needs to be goal congruence between the goals and objectives of the organization, the objectives of your immediate boss or the people in between, yeah, and yourself, okay? So imagine if the company's KPI is we want to grow revenues, and consequently, your boss's KPI is I want to get promoted by growing revenues. Now you on the other side is saying, oh, I'm a people person. I don't care about revenues. I just want to take care of people. Trust me, there's a misalignment, and that is war, right? So you need to understand, you need to find a way in which you set up your own goals and objectives that will fit into what your boss is doing, that will fit into largely what the organization is doing. Absolutely critical. The next bit is, I don't really like this, but I think it will not be nice if I don't talk about this, and this is office politics. Don't be clueless, it exists. It is everywhere. You should understand the climate and the intricate influences here and there. It is absolutely critical. But what you should avoid is to be the center of it. Don't get caught up in it, right? Like Alhaji Yusuf said earlier on, let your work do much more of the talking for you, okay? And at the same time, you need to have a cordial and sincere relationship with people across board. Just build relationship across board. It helps out at the end of the day, okay? So that's it about understanding your organization. Like I said, there's a lot to unpack. On some of these points, I could actually spend 30 minutes discussing each point, but for the sake of time, you know, just you need to understand the climate within your organization. It's only what you understand that you can survive, all right? So the next point I have is around personal development. Alhaji Olawoyin and Alhaji Yusuf talked about this also. It's absolutely important, absolutely important. Nobody wants a liability on their team. Nobody. If I give you a task, I will coach you, but the coaching will go halfway. I need something to meet me halfway, right? That is your skill or the talent that you yourself that you've developed. So when you're given a task, you need to apply yourself. You need to be able to provide solutions. You need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in yourself, and you need to be honest with yourself in things you don't know, right? I do this a lot. I do a lot of introspection. I look at my current role and I be like, Inka, what do you need to be able to function at 100% in this role? What do you have currently? Where are you? 60%, 70%, 80%? What is that 20% that you are lacking? And once I identify the 20%, the next thing is itemize. How do I intend to target this? How do I intend to achieve this? Okay, I come up with a plan. So those weaknesses, I try to convert them into a strength, into strengths, okay? So once again, very, 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 very important. A liability on the team is not gonna work. Something needs to be there, yeah? Absolutely important. So you need to show that you're a valuable fit to the organization and to your department as a whole. And you need to be capable of, being analytical, solving problems and stuff like that. It is absolutely important. Next point I have here will be effective communication. Sorry, I got distracted a bit there. So next one I have here is effective communication. And once again, there's a lot to unpack here. There are several aspects to communication. It goes beyond just speaking. It goes beyond being able to effectively say what's on your mind. It goes to things like written communication, writing, reports, emails, sometimes telephone etiquettes, okay? You need to understand your audience. I mean, it could be one person to 1,000 people. You need to understand your audience. You need to know what they want to hear and how they want to hear it, right? Absolutely important. That is when you can effectively pass your message across, okay? There are some things that some people, going back to email etiquette, there are some things that should not be in an email. And at the same time, there are some things that absolutely need to get on an email. Understanding what should and what should not It's part of you understanding your organizations and what makes people tick or what rubs people the wrong way. All right. So you need to find that balance. It's absolutely important for you to be able to find that balance between knowing what should and what shouldn't get on an email. Same thing with telephone etiquette, right? So, for example, I'm in a business where my phone number is out there, right? Anybody can call me. Anybody that needs services from my firm can call me, right? So even if I don't know the phone number that is calling, I'm obliged to pick up the call and respond appropriately. Not like, hello, who is this? It could be the MD of the CEO of a big company calling, you know? And this kind of things rub people the wrong way. So these are some of the skills that you need to think about, you know, when we're talking about effective communication. Next point I have is around teamwork. You have to be a good team player. I mean, Alaji used to mention this earlier on. You have to be a good team player. Silo mentality is detrimental, right? You cannot be an island by yourself. You cannot, you know, you need to constantly make deposits into that teamwork pool so you can draw from it when it's needed. And trust me, if you keep on drawing, you'll get to a point somebody will look at you and you'll be like, you know what, sorry, I can't help you anymore. If you are not making investments in that pool, people will, over a period of time, people will find it difficult giving you a helping hand. Okay, so talking about teams again, I say this a lot. Yes, I work for a big four, some other people work for organizations, but ultimately people work for people. People don't work for firms. People don't work for organizations. People work for people within the organization. And this is proven. There are instances where you will realize that employees will go the extra mile for a boss, right, that they like, or a boss that they believe has their best interest at heart, right? So there's a bit of self-motivation. Oh, you're employed. Yes, you will pay your salary every month. You need to do your work. Yes, I agree. But if you really want to get the best out of your team, right, you as the leader, right, you need to go over and beyond also, over and above also. Okay, so teamwork is important. You're not a silo. You're not an island. You need to make constant deposits into that teamwork pool so that you can draw from it when needed. Okay. Next point I have is around adaptability. And Alaji used to mention this. I had you allowing to mention this earlier on. You need to be willing to unlearn old skills and learn new skills, or else you lose relevance. Just like that. Just like that. So I'll use myself as an example. So I'm an auditor, and the software we use, or the software we use, if I can use that term loosely, since I joined the firm in 2004, has changed like 15 times, right? So we keep having versions. Oh, this version, this X version 1, version 2, version 3. And at every point in time, you need to unlearn the skill you had on the old one and learn a new one, and learn it very well. Now, just use that example, Lucy. This applies to everybody. If you think you being a guru in Excel, right, is still, it's still maybe relevant today, but if you think that will keep you at the top, you're mistaken. There are new tools popping up that are way stronger than Excel. There's Power BI, there's Alteryx. Before then, there was ACL. These are tools that are now, that people are using, okay? So you need to be willing to unlearn old skills and learn new ones, okay? Technology is one of the main drivers for change. Technology is, right? And you need to, so you have to keep track with it. So every 1 or 2 years, something new will come up. And if you don't get with the program, you will be asked to step aside. People will leave you behind. I see a lot of people this. So imagine, let's even use this current situation that we find ourselves in today. working from home based on this whole COVID situation. So before this whole thing started, there's been an argument in my firm as to, oh, can people work from home? Do they come to the office? We had the infrastructure to work from home years ago. So I, for example, for days that I need to review reports that I want peace and quiet, I'd rather work from home, right? So, you know, Zoom calls, having electronic signatures, you know, reviewing people's work, sharing screens, having all these kind of meetings. Some people still don't like it. And some people find it difficult to adapt to it, okay? Some people will still rather print out 50 pages of a report today and review it. Sooner than later, all this will become, I mean, it will become useless. So if you can't go to the office, now that means you need to buy a printer at your home. Whereas you can have Adobe, right? You know, get the stylus and review on your iPad. You know, these are, I know they're basic, but I'm just using that as an example, you know, to let you realize that adaptability is key. And if you're getting stuck in your old ways, the firm will probably leave, the organization or the business will probably leave you behind, all right? So that is absolutely very, 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 very important. So the next point I have is self-motivation. If you are the type that needs to be micromanaged and monitored for you to get things done, there's a high probability you will not last long. Okay? If, like the example I gave earlier on, if I give you a task and I say get something done, and I give you a timeline, I expect when that timeline is done that you come back to me and say, I'm done, or if you're not going to finish, let's say like 2 or 3 days into that timeline, you come back to me and say, please, I need more time, okay? If I constantly give you tasks and you don't complete it on time, and I'm the one that have to come back to you and say, what's happening to this thing? Say, I'm still working on it, right? If that happens constantly, then there is a problem. That means you're telling me I need to micromanage you. So I need to give you the task now and check back within 1 hour and say, let me see what you've done so far, right? That is not healthy enough for me. People want to work with people that, you know, I give you the task outline, I coach you, that coaching should meet something. It should meet enthusiasm, it should meet zeal, it should meet, you know, the willingness to get the job done, okay? So this is absolutely important, right? I mentioned earlier on about coming late to work, not delivering on set deadlines. All these are recipes for disaster. People, it's not gonna work. And this is kind of amplified in the current environment that we find ourselves in, yeah? So in most instances, they're not in the office, so I don't know whether you're sat there or you're doing the work I have asked you to do. I'm trusting you, right, in the comfort of your home to be able, you know, to do the work that I've asked you to do. And at times you see people will come back, you know, after like 3 days, if let's say 3 days is the timeline I'm giving you to do the work. They come back after 3 days and I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. I had an issue with my family. I had to do stuff. No. Communication, like I said earlier on, is absolutely key. You should have told me, oh, sorry, the task you gave me to do, I'm struggling a bit. Please, can I get more time? If I can, I'll give you more time. But if I can't, I'll probably just get someone else to do it, okay? So you need to, that self-motivation needs to be there, that zeal needs to be there, that desire needs to be there, right? Absolutely important, okay? The last point I have is around consistency. This talks about consistency around quality of work, consistency around efficiency. There's no room for you to be blowing hot and cold. In my environment, yeah, you're as good as your last job. You cannot afford to rest on your laurels, like we say in local parlance. I get them before, no property. Yeah, you cannot be. I mean, yes, if you do a job today for me, and you do a very fantastic job, right? If you do the next job and it's not as bad, I can say it's a one-off. But if the next one is also as bad as the one you've just done, then that job you did very well, probably a month or 3 months ago, it vanishes. The strength of you know, the appraisal that you got, it vanishes. You're as good as your last job. All right? And being consistent requires hard work. It requires hard work. It requires you being, you taking personal development seriously. It requires self-motivation, right? It's the whole package. Talent alone will not get you there. I've seen several talented people, right, that did not work hard, or they were not diligent enough, right, and their career derailed. So I used to have a coach, and this statement is quite common in the sporting space, that says hard work beats talent if talent does not work hard. That is absolutely true. Being intelligent alone, being brilliant alone is not enough. It is not enough. That person that is hardworking will surpass you in the nick of time. You know, so we have to be mindful of that. You need to be consistent. So these are the few points that I've put together, just to ensure that if right sizing happens in our organization, you won't be in the bottom feeder, you won't be in the bottom half of people that they will probably want to get rid of, and also things you need to consider so you don't get fired instantly. To round this off, I came up with a couple of do's and don'ts that are quite similar to what Haji Olawonye and Alhaji Yusuf have spoken about. So be visible and audible, yeah. Make yourself out there. Let your work your output, let it do the work for you. I'm not saying you should not blow your trumpet. Yes, you should. Yeah. And also, take ownership for work that you've done, right? And be happy about it, and let people know you. I'll give you a good example. There's been instances in my firm where people have been, considered for promotion, and we're sat in the moderation, and somebody will just ask, "Who is this guy? I don't know this person." Right? We're talking about 5 people. The first 3 people, I know what they do from an extracurricular standpoint. I know this person handles this, that person handles that, that person handles that. These 2 people, what do they do? Be like, oh, well, they only do. They're like, no. So you need to be visible. You need to let people know you. Like you mentioned something earlier on, that you need to participate in leadership roles. Absolutely critical. That is part of being visible. It's critical you do that. Build positive professional relationships. He also mentioned that. You don't know. There are people that used to work for me that I now get work from. And I can count at least 10 people right now. That some of them were even my mentees, right? That if I rank it now, they're doing better than I am right now, even if I put it that way. I go to them, I get work from them right now. Okay, so it is not just professional relationship. Be nice to people all through. Just be nice to people generally, because you don't know what will happen when you in the future. Yeah, they might be important to your growth and your career in the future. I'm not going to talk about getting a mentor anymore, because Alhaji Yusuf also mentioned it coincidentally. It's important. Get as many as possible, right? Official, unofficial, for different aspects of your life. Please, it's a trick that a lot of people ignore, but trust me, it is easier if you have someone that can guide you through what they went through, right, to get to where they are. Well, that is exactly what you're about to go through. Very, very important. Be emotionally intelligent. It is not always everything that you see that you talk about. It's not everything that you see that you react to. It's not everything that you hear that you react to. This comes in maturity, yeah. And employers want to see this. You need to be matured. You need to know when to say stuff, when to ignore stuff. Things that are important, things that are not. It is not every battle that is worth fighting. Yeah, absolutely important. Be willing to go the extra mile now and then. Yeah, I see some people that they will go like, oh, I don't work weekends. Oh, I don't work there. Yeah. See, it is not always intentional that the company or your bosses will ask you for going the extra mile. Yeah. The problem starts when they start taking you for granted and they believe, oh yes, this is norm. Yeah. So people that work for me, if you work weekends for me, I'll give you your day back. That is, for me, that is a rule. But if I need you to work weekends, it's because we have a deadline that I need us to meet. And sometimes I might even chip in the extra day for you. Thank you very much for giving me your extra day. You can take 2 days off, okay? But sometimes it is required, so please be willing to do that. Dress smartly and in line with company brand. Like they say, appearance is everything. The way you present yourself is absolutely, people see you first before they hear you. Well, maybe not the case now when we're locked down and everything, but you get the point. Your appearance matters. It says a lot about who you are and what you stand for, okay? Now, just to wrap it up with a couple of don'ts. Don't be a sycophant. I personally hate this, okay? And a lot of people can see through this. A lot of people see through this. It doesn't help you that much. You know, it's not the best thing to be known for, right? Yeah, you have some people, even if their boss cracks a joke and it's not funny, they will laugh as if it's, oh, that's the funniest thing in the world. No, it's not ideal. Be yourself. Yeah, let your work do the talking for you. You know, let your personal development do the talking for you. Let your outputs be the main thing, not you sucking up to your bosses or, you know, going the extra mile and, you know, trying to get them to like you at all costs. Nah, that's not the proper thing to do. Challenge yourself, but don't bite more than you can chew. Okay. Quick story. I had a friend. Well, we were on secondment together, right? And this happened to him. He more or less wanted to prove to the people that were working in the UK that he was, you know, oh, I've landed. I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and it backfired. It backfired, and he had a very horrible time on secondment. So please challenge yourself, but know your limits. Know your limits. It's absolutely important. And avoid unnecessary conflicts. It's not everything that you need to fight or that you need to report to your superiors. It's part of being emotionally intelligent. Okay. So these are the things that I've put together, talking about how to keep a job. So that's my presentation. Once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share knowledge, and I'm more than happy to take questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that the honor is all ours. We have learned. You've literally taken us through a master class in not just keeping a job, but really staying at the top of our games. Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. If you agree with me, please put your thank you and prayers in the chat box so that he may see that. Thank you so much, sir. So we have about 5 minutes, I believe, that for questions. So if you have any question about work politics, even though Mr. Yinkaishu said he doesn't like politics at work, and you should never be caught in the middle of it. If you have any question about work or whatever you're struggling with that you want clarity for, please drop it in the chat. We have yeah, please drop it in the chat quickly. I think we can take one question before we move to the panel session. Any question? Yep, I agree with you, Mr. Yakini. It's quite thought-provoking, And for me, I think the most profound thing you said to me as a manager of people and as an entrepreneur was where you said that there are some people who used to work for you that you now work for. And I felt like I looked back at the last 10 years of my career and wondered, do I have old staff that I can work for that will give me a job based on whatever merit or whatever thing I've done in the last decade? I pray so. I pray so. But then praying is not enough. You need to do the work. So I hope all of us have taken one or two things away from here, and I pray that Allah bless it for us. Okay, so one question, I'm taking one question from Mr. Abdulrahman Sonny, I think. I saw the question now. Okay, so he said, if you have started on the wrong note on one of the things you've mentioned, how do you go back when a mindset is already formed? I believe the mindset is formed by the people you offended, right? Because you have changed your own mindset. So I have a few questions, but we'll probably just take Mr. Sonny's own. So all the other questions will be passed on to the panel. So Mr. Inka.
Assalamu alaikum, Mutiar. Can you take the question again? Sorry.
Okay, so the question says, if you have started on a wrong note on one of the things you have mentioned in your session, how do you go back when a mindset is already formed?
Okay, so for me, there's nothing that is cast in stone and that cannot be changed. Okay, it goes back to what I talked about in unlearning and relearning. All right. For example, I had a session a couple of days ago with some psychologists, from South Africa, and they still taught me some things that I didn't know before, or they helped me understand some things in a different perspective that I didn't know before. And right there and then, the first thing is for you to say, wow, so that's the case. So that's the issue. Oh, that's a problem. Identifying the problem is 50% of solving the problem. Yeah. So it now goes back to you making a conscious effort in terms of, so this I need to stop, this I need to do. And you need to start listing out in clear terms that these are the things I need to change. This is what I need to stop doing. This is what I need to start doing. How do I intend to do it? So I don't think we are, I don't think we are cements that are, cast already and things can change. No mindset, all mindset can be broken, right? As long as we continue to challenge the paradigm shift, things will always, you can always turn things around for the better. Okay, so it's more about your mentality as against, oh, I can't do it. Oh, people, there's already a mindset, right? I'm still learning as I am right now. Old habits I'm trying to drop, new habits I'm trying to imbibe. So if I can do it, I believe the person asking the question can also do the same. Thank you.
For the last session of the day, which is the plenary session, that will be led by Aladini Yusuf, and in attendance on seats, the panelists are the two other speakers that we've had today. So, sir, the panel is all yours, sir. So for those of us that's just joining, welcome to CAF 6.0. The theme of the day is how I got here, and we had a keynote address from Alajini Yusuf. The first presentation was titled "Find That Dream Job with Ease." It was facilitated by Mrs. Khadija Olawuyi. And the last amazing presentation we just had right now was titled "How to Keep a Job" by Mr. Inka Yusuf. And now we're going to have the plenary session, which is basically the question and answer session, to be led by our chairman of the occasion, Alajini Yusuf.
Thank you, Mr. I see you insist to refer to me as chairman.
That was what Mr. Sikiru told me. So I'm just following instructions, but I don't want to get fired.
Okay. All right, thanks. And we'd like to add my thanks to Sister Molara and Brian Yusuf for those excellent pieces. And I mean, expect nothing less given their experience and their pedigree. And like somebody said on the chat message, this is real partner stuff. And so for most of us that are here, we should count ourselves lucky to have listened to these two fine professionals this afternoon. and to have shared from their wealth of experience. So a few questions have been curated, and we have between now and 2 p.m. to try and address those questions. So let me ask the first question to Sister Molara. Most millennials, they can't relate to this idea of working with one employer for donkey years. So, I mean, I worked with Accenture for like 19 years. Most would like to work 19 months and then move to the next one and do another 19 months and move to the next one. And so there's a question that says that millennials can't relate to the practice of our forebearers who spend 20 plus years with one employer, not when they often see how their parents get junked and dished by these said employers that they were once loyal to. So the question, on what ground should one stay with one employer for more than 10 years? Sister Laura, if you can unmute yourself, did you hear the question? I hope we've not lost her.
So she's saying she can't unmute herself, that she...
Okay, so
please give me access to unmute my mic, sir.
Okay. So the first is to find her.
Okay. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay, thank you for the question. These questions always come about from the younger generation, which is normal. But my advice has always been, if you want to change job, stay at least, set a minimum number of years for yourself that would have convincingly added value to yourself. So that when you are moving to the next job, you are moving with higher pay, higher position. And you have to research very well that the company you are moving to will not rock your boat. Will not rock your boat. After all, me, I used to set a standard of maximum 5 years for myself. I'm in my fifth job, and I've always worked with global brands. It's my fifth job. You get to a stage where you can no longer even move anymore. I used to set 3 to 5 years. So once I spent year 3, I'm already on the lookout, and I always research before I move. It takes about 1 year for me to get the job anyway, but I'll normally move within 3 to 4 years. I'll move. This job now that I have, there's no way I can move except I get like a CEO job for another global brand, and it can be like an agreement to spend a few years and I move on in life. My future and what I see in vision is to do complete service to community once I'm no longer in active employment. But there's nothing wrong with you moving. Just make sure you've learned enough that will make you an added value when you are moving to the next one. And have a mindset of no matter how long you move, you get to a stage where there will be break. You can no longer roll like a rock. You have to be there. But while you are still young, me, I also encourage you to move, honestly. But please check very well before you move. Set a time, 3 to 5 years, you want to stay, you move.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong in moving, but also I will tell you there's nothing wrong in staying for 10 years. I stayed 19. And then the important thing is, like Samolara, if you work with a good company, so she works for, or she has been working for global brands. A global brand is typically likely be a very good company. So if you work for a good company with that promotes merit, that strikes a good balance between working for shareholders, working for staff, working for the community and the environment, a good company where the company is progressing, is respected by people in the community, it has significant customers, its products are leading the market, and you are also in the position where you are adding value to the company, your contributions are being valued and respected, and you feel you are growing. If all those things come together, you should continue to work. But where none of those, some of those don't come together, either the company is not growing, its products and brands are not respected by the market, or your own work is not being appreciated, or you are not growing and developing. If any of those don't come true, then I would say it's time to move on.
If I may have, sir, what is most important is, no matter the job you are doing now, be deliberate about being a value. Be deliberate. You are actually doing the job for yourself, not for the organization, because it will speak for you either in your next job or your personal life, or when they need to promote anybody, your job will speak for you. Where if you're in a place that is well structured, and every 2 years elevation comes, if your job speaks for you, you don't need to lobby, you will be recognized and rewarded accordingly. So the risk is the same.
Yeah.
So just to add my own perspective. So just like you, Alhaji Yusuf, I've been in the firm for 17 years. And when I joined, I didn't have the intention of staying for 17 years. Because my first degree was in, I graduated mechanical engineering in University of Ilorin. Yeah. I just needed a job and I joined PwC. My eyes were constantly on. So I did a 1-year service in the oil industry in Port Harcourt. I was in an oil servicing company for 1 year. That's where I served. My target was to always go back there. But as the days went by, from time to time, I started realizing that opportunities will come and I'll turn it down. I kept on turning it down, kept on turning them down at different intervals. And I was an associate, I was a senior, and I was a manager, even when I was a director. Okay? So it goes back to what I mentioned earlier on about goal congruence. I just found that I was a perfect fit with the firm. Our stars aligned more or less. If it didn't, I would have left. So it's not really, I don't think the earlier generation did that also because, that's the way they were wired. I don't think so. It's just that maybe at some instances, people just realize that, you know what, I'm better off where I am. It's not, the grass is not always greener on the other side. So at this point in time, you just need to evaluate where you are in life. Am I enjoying what I'm doing? Where do I see myself in the next 1 year? Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Right? And be honest with yourself. If it's not working, it's not working. You move. If it is working, don't go with the mentality that, oh, I must change jobs and force yourself to change jobs. No. If it is working, stay. It's not, there's no rule per se to this. It's just what works, and be honest with yourself when you're doing that introspection. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mika. I think the important thing there is goal congress and continuous evaluation. If it's working, keep at it. If it's not working, do the next thing. All right, so a question for you, which is also related somewhat. I've been with my current employer for 8 years now. The future looks easy. I feel stuck. What should I do?
Okay, so I will just tell you what I've been doing for the past 17 years at different points in time, right? So you need to introspect, okay? Sit down and really, do like a self-analysis. What are the top 3 things or 5 things that are important to you, okay, that you want to achieve? What are the 5 obstacles or 3 or 5 obstacles that are hindering you from achieving them, right? How do I plan to remove them? Don't be very, very honest with yourself and just get at it. Just get at it, okay? If the 8 years, I'm not worried about the 8 years or that you spent with the organization. For me, that is not the duration. It's, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Is this what I want to do? Is this my passion? if those questions, the answer to most of them, if they are no, then you need to sit down and chart out a plan of how you intend to get out of it, right? So the 8 years is not the key thing for me here. If you're enjoying what you're doing, even if it's 8 years, all well and good. But if you're not, list things out. This is what I intend to do. This is how I intend to get out of this. So that sense of you getting stuck or feeling stuck, it's just because you've probably not thought about it and developed a plan for yourself. Once there is a plan and there's a clear outline of how you intend to achieve it, you start seeing reasons to why you're doing stuff, and that sense of feeling stuck will probably, it will subside to some extent. So that's what I did, and I think that should be useful for the person asking the question.
Thanks. That's an interesting perspective. You talk about having a plan for yourself, and I think that is important. Most of us don't have a strategic plan for ourselves. We have tactical plans. What I would do in 2 months, what I would do in 12 months, but we all need to have a long-term strategic plan for ourselves so that you are deliberate about the way you manage your career. Is that plan that allows you to say no to an opportunity or to a request, and to say yes to an opportunity? Otherwise, you'll be grabbing anything and everything that comes your way. Thanks. Let me a follow-on question, Yinka. What should one do in an organization where office politics is the modus operandi?
Interesting question. So for me, I always sit on the fence, and see, a lot of organizations have this. It is not, if I tell you it doesn't happen in big fours or multinationals, it's a lie. It happens everywhere. For me, is don't take sides. That's it. Don't take sides, right? Sit on the fence, have a cordial relationship with everybody. Because I've seen people that have taken sides that have been burnt severely, yeah. And if at the end of the day, if everybody sees you, and everybody thinks, oh, this is my person, then you're all right. You're fine. So like, if I go back to the prophet again, so one of these Sahabas, I can't remember who precisely said, he asked the question, he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is your most favorite person? Said Aisha. Said, so he kept on asking, and the person said, the way the Prophet interacted with me, I thought he would have mentioned my name, but I was surprised that he didn't mention my name, right? So it goes back to that example. Just be nice to everybody, right? Don't be in one camp, don't be in another camp, be in your own camp. For me, that's what has worked for me, yeah, and that's what I would advise the person to do.
Be in your own camp and be nice to all, be kind to all, be friends with all. You don't need to say this is my friend and this is your enemy, or this person is in my camp and this person is not in my camp. Be like the sun. The sun shines on everyone, whether you are black, white, tall, young.
Absolutely.
Be friends to all, be friends with all, and then let your hard work speak for you. Thank you. That's very useful. Next question to Stamolara. It's been over 3 years since I finished my NYSC with no job in sight, despite continuing efforts. Everything seems hopeless. How do I keep myself productively engaged and earn a living, knowing that entrepreneurship isn't my forte? Did you get that question? Hello? You are muted. It appears you are muted. We're not hearing you.
Wow, this is a tough. Yeah, I did. It's a tough one, but it is the reality in Nigeria now. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your network is dragging.
I'm not hello. I'm mute.
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better, much better. Can hear you now.
Yeah, fluctuating. It's bad network. I said it is very unfortunate to the reality in scenario-based the reality. What this person can do is to maybe start volunteering. If you can find a place to be volunteering, at least to be building and prepare. Is this person talking to MMC already? He has to start talking to MMC. They can help him to put some things together, I'm sure. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I mean, it's talking back. I can hear you. But I mean, I get your feedback is around the person should volunteer. Volunteering allows you to build a network.
Okay, I'm trying to type. The network is bad. I said that the person should, yes, and
so I've seen what
acquire, yes.
So let me speak.
Let
me speak to what you've typed.
Register with a recruiter, because recruiters, they are always having information about openings.
So let me try and let me try and summarize it. So first is start volunteering, right? And if you volunteer in big platforms, you are likely to meet future prospective employers. If you volunteer on big platforms, you are likely to meet prospective employers. And I think that is very important. So you need to model what you want to achieve and follow your strategic plan. So for instance, if your desire is to turn from a mechanical engineer like Inka and become a professional accountant, right? Then you need to understand, where do accountants stay? What do they do? Or if you want to be like Samalara and be an HR professional, so where are the HR professionals? Where do they congregate? What do they do? Where do they meet? And if you understand that, then you need to go and fish where the fishes are. So you need to go to where they are, and then try and be part of that community. And when you're part of that community, then that provides an opportunity for you to come into contact with them. And if you do well, if you serve in that community, if you contribute positively, your work will speak for you. You will get noticed. And one way or the other, you then begin to have access, because access is important. You then begin to have access to, so for instance, argument's sake, assuming there is an ICANN, what's it called? You want to be an accountant, so you need to join ICANN. Or you want to be an HR professional, so you need to join CIPM, Chartered Institute of Professionals Manager. So you join as a student or you join as an associate member. But it's not enough to join. You then make sure that you are part of a committee. So when they set up a committee to do their annual whatever, or to even plan Christmas party, assuming it's a committee to plan Christmas party, that committee will be led by someone senior. You come in there and volunteer to help them clean tables and to clear the chairs. If you clean the tables well, if you sweep the floor well, the head of the committee will recognize you and say, oh, Niyi, thank you. I mean, I've never seen anyone who cleans table or who sweeps the floor like you do. That's how you begin to have a relationship. So that person becomes your friend. I mean, I've seen questions around, how can I get a mentor? You don't get a mentor by just walking up to the mentor. Is that you get introduced or your work speaks for you? So that somebody refers you to a mentor and say, oh, Yinka, please let me mentor Tunji. Tunji is a younger friend, please let me mentor. So Yinka will listen to me and say, okay, if this request is coming from Niyi, clearly Niyi knows that this Tunji is a good guy, he has evaluated him. So let me give him a chance. But Tunji cannot just walk up to him. How would he even have it? Where will you meet Yinka to go to walk up to him? You won't have the opportunity. But if you now serve in ICANN, and Yinka is the chairman of the ICANN Christmas planning party, and you join as an associate member or a student member or whatever, and you do very well in the planning committee, you take minutes, you send the minutes, you clean the floors, you wipe the posts, you do everything well, Yinka will notice you. In fact, next time Yinka is leading a committee, he will say, that guy who was the cleaner at the Christmas party, let me find him to join my committee. He performed well. Please add him to this committee. That's how Yinka becomes your friend. That's how Yinka becomes your mentor. And if you continue to do well, that's how Yinka can become your sponsor. Because they will say, if you give Tunji an assignment, you can go to sleep, he will do it well. He did it at the 1996 Christmas party. He did it at the 1997 welcome party. He did it at the 1998 symposium. I trust him. That's how you get mentors. And that's how you find jobs. Right? So, someone also says register with a recruiter. I would say also be active on LinkedIn. Most of us spend time on WhatsApp and Facebook. If you want to be professional, your professional network is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more professional than Facebook and Instagram. So be active on LinkedIn. Follow good role models on LinkedIn, and then hopefully you can also be noticed. And lastly, like Yinka said, this is a time, if you don't have a job, it's a time to unlearn old skills and learn new skills. So he shared his profile. He read mechanical engineering. He did not read accounting, right? And so he has unlearned mechanical engineering. He has learned accounting or auditing or whatever new skills, right? I'm sure Sister Molara did not read HR in school, and today she's an HR lead for a global company. So if you are looking for a job for 3 years, 4 years, I suspect you are still carrying old, obsolete skills. If you've learned new skills, if you've learned data analytics, the skills that are relevant today, you probably may stand a chance. And if you're in the right community, in the right network, you clearly may stand a chance. We've got 4 minutes. Let me ask this last question. How do you strike a balance between personal development and building relationships? So that's a question for you.
I don't think they are conflicting. Yeah. So personal development and building relations. I don't think they're conflicting per se. It's not as if there's on one spectrum is personal development, on the other spectrum is building relationship. They could actually work hand in hand. So part of your personal development, part of you building relationship could also be driven from a personal development standpoint. There are people that I've met, right? So let's say, for example, you have anger issues, and they say you should go see a therapist, okay? And that's part of your personal development. I'm just using this loosely. So personal development is not just technical; it also relates to softer skills, attitude, and stuff like that. So if you meet a therapist, and then the therapist is a well-known therapist that knows a couple of other people, right? So you're using one stone to kill 2 birds. So I don't think they're conflicting. You can do both. You can do both easily. if I need to learn, let's say about a new IFRS standard, and I walk up to a professional, right? It's part of me developing myself and also me knowing the person. I've walked off to people before that we met at events, and I'm like, I love what you do on XYZ, and I'd love to pick your brain on this in the future. You know, hope you don't mind if I reach out to you, probably just 30 minutes, 1 hour of your time. Is that nice? Yeah, and the person will say, yeah, that's fine, no problem at all. I call up the person. We talk about it. We talk about family for like 15, 20 minutes. We talk about the main technical point for like 40 minutes, and I know that person now. There are several people that has happened to me with. So I don't think they're conflicting, and it can be easily achieved together.
Indeed. In fact, developing relationships will help you in terms of personal development, and you need both. Last question, and it goes to Samalara. How does a reflective person cope with the fast-paced expectation of the workplace? Right. So the workplace is a fast-moving environment. Is it cope for a reflective person?
Yes, organizations are always expecting that you deliver on objectives. They want agility, they want mental and physical agility, but I'm always convinced that once you have a plan, there's nothing that is urgent or emergency or in hurry. You have to be able to envisage, you have to be able to visualize, to know what you're expected to deliver at what time. You have to know, you have to understand the dynamics of the job and your role expectations. If you know this, there's no way that you'll be under pressure or the organization will be dictating the pace at which you should run. Get your priorities well, organize yourself, plan well, and you cannot fail with these examples. You cannot fail, and you will not be under pressure from the organization. My own strategy is that it has always been like this. You have to envisage to see what you will do differently tomorrow. By the time you are doing same thing every day, sorry, it might become obsolete, and you just have to learn how to practically do new things that will add value every day, no matter how simple. Just do it, and you continue.
Always look for ways to add value every day. And I also would say understand the difference between things that are urgent and things that are important.
Yes.
And you make sure that you are doing the important things, not necessarily the urgent things. And don't let everything become urgent. Otherwise, you don't like it. All right, so it's 2 p.m. On the dot. I would like to thank my brother Inka Yusuf and my sister Molara Olawoyin for what I would say it's a very enriching session, both the presentations and also the panel discussions. Thank you for sharing. And this is what I talk about, a life of service. So this is all about sharing. I know if we were to come and engage in a formal session and we have to pay for this, we'll be talking hundreds of thousands of naira in terms of billable hours. So thank you for doing this for the human. We need more role models in Islam. I was just reading and maybe I'll post this, I was just reading the story of Razak Ahmed, the cowrie-wise guy. And it's like, it's a story of most Muslims. And so one cannot underscore the importance of having role models. And that's why I do these things. And I hope those who have been part of this session today will have been energized by what they've heard. You can be a partner of a global firm and still be a Muslim and a practicing Muslim. You can be the HR lead, the HR director of a global firm and still be a conscious, head-covering Muslim. I've just posted the nairametric story on Razak Ahmed of
Razak Ahmed.
Yeah, and I think for me that just speaks to why we all need to be doing things like this, so that we serve as role models, and we let our young ones understand that nothing is impossible. If you set your mind at it, like Allah says in the Quran, Muslims are the best of all. They're the best of mankind, quarter of flower moment, and so really there's nothing stopping us. So thank you for all that you do. I pray God will reward you mercifully. And for those that have not answered your specific questions, I think we've touched all questions in some form or the other. But thank you for being part of the session. So I hand over now to Mr.
Thank you very much, sir. We move on. Okay, so this has been a very, very beautiful CAF. All CAF has always been beautiful, from the first one where we did have Ms. Olawayin with us at the, was this first one? Yeah. But this one has been amazing, probably one of the best Zoom classes I've ever been. Thank you all to everyone who's been. First and foremost, thank you to all the speakers. But thanking you is not my job. I have the closing remark to be done by Mr. Bashir. Mr. Bashir, are you there? Is Mr. Bashir there to give us the closing remark on behalf of MMC? Mr. Saeed Bashir. Oh, can everybody hear me?
He's here. He's here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, you need to allow him to speak.
Is there? I just want to unmute him.
Okay. Sir, please go ahead.
This technology challenge.
Mr.
Because
Bashir, please unmute and go ahead. You have been made host.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me do a sound check. Can you hear me?
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Okay. Okay. So I'm trying to also show my video, but I'm having some challenges. But I will start by saying thanks to Almighty Allah, who has made it possible for us to schedule this program and for us to be able to execute it. We say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I also want to thank our speakers for sharing their wealth of experience for the benefit of our fellow Muslims. May Almighty Allah reward you abundantly. I also want to thank the organizers for putting this event together. Allah will continue to bless you in manifolds. I also want to thank the participants for creating time to be part of this important event. May Almighty Allah make this beneficial to us all in this world, in the grave and in the hereafter. For me, it's about what are we going to do next? So it's one thing to listen to all the beautiful presentations. What is more important for me is what are we going to do about it? Remember, this is like a feedback. There are 3 things you can do with a feedback. You can keep it, you can trash it, and you can use it. So how do we use this for our own benefits? How do we use this for the benefit of humanity? And I think that is what each and every one of us needs to think about. It's about implementation. A lot of things have been said about character, which actually stood out for me in all the speakers. Character, character, character. This is something we need to do, you know, as Muslims, to be exemplary characters to everybody that we come in contact with. It is also important that we show up, just like all the speakers have said. You said You need to show up, you need to be visible, you need to create impact. How do you do this? You also need to be excellent in everything that you do. This also came up in all the things that we've heard today. So it's about the implementation. It's about what are we going to do? So what I expect each and every one of us to do is to have a log of our action points. What are we going to do as a result of everything that we have heard today? In terms of building of our character, in terms of building of our competence, in terms of building of our network, in terms of creating an abundance mindset, in terms of everything that we've learned today, what are the things you want to do to take this knowledge forward so that in some years to come, you would also be invited to come and share wealth of your experience with fellow upcoming Muslims. Once again, Jazakumullahu khairan to everyone that has made this happen, including the facilitators of the program as well as the organizers. May Almighty Allah continue to bless us abundantly. And lastly, we've also been said that we need to be like a sun that sheds light for the benefit of other people. I would also encourage us to invite our fellow Muslims to Muslim Mentorship Connect, so that you are not the only one benefiting, other people are also benefiting from the wealth of knowledge for the benefit of mankind and the Muslims in general. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You are muted, Mutiat. You are muted.
Oh, somebody remove. Oh, sorry. Amazing remark. Leaving everything, saying everything. There's nothing more for me to add, rather than saying and asking that for those of us who listened very well to most of the speakers, we heard them repeating volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. And if you're interested in volunteering for the MMC, we are currently looking for community managers to take our WhatsApp group engagement to the next level. We used to have a very engaged WhatsApp group, but since the lockdown, everything has been upside down, and we're looking to restructure for 2021. And then MMC is basically based on volunteering. Practically everyone on the team. Nobody on the team is being paid to be here. And if you'd like to be part of our story, feel free to reach out to any of the admins, particularly myself, if you'd like to volunteer as a community manager. We probably need about 2 or 3 people, and it's going to be based on merit. And hopefully it's going to be beneficial for you and your career moving forward. I know that volunteering for this platform has done amazing things for my career, and I believe it will do that for you too. Jazakumullah khair to everyone, the facilitators, the team members, and you, our audience, because without you, we would not have a career activation foundry. May Allah bless this for us. Thank you. We'll see you in the next masterclass. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So that's that. Aziz, Mr. Sikyo, do you want to add anything before we end the meeting? So, in the absence of nothing, we leave it to